Hi, Stuart. It's Leisha.
Yes,
Um, I'm just wondering if you can speak again. I just always need to hear the same thing over and over and over. But if you wouldn't mind speaking to me again, how how we face the unfaceable, the violent aspects of life, the aspects that we just can't seem to accept. They're just too cruel, too evil, you know, how to surrender to to the reality.
look, we all have to face that, Lisa. When I was younger, I rebelled. I screamed and yelled on the streets and marched, and we had the Vietnam War then. And it's the same stuff today. But I discovered years ago it didn't work. I could scream and yell, and until people are willing to make the effort to change inside themselves, until people can find a way to live with open hearts, with quiet minds, with giving other human beings the right to live their lives just to be, the madness will continue forever. It will just continue. The only alternative to this is you've got to build a system inside yourself that is strong enough, to be able to transcend it, to detach from it. And, it's, you know, what have I said 1,000 times? I mean, since Adam and Eve left the Garden of Eden, the world has been crazy. It's nothing new, and it's not going to be anything new 1,000 years from now. What's new is individuals working on themselves, growing inside, opening to a higher energy force, learning how to live with forgiveness and compassion, and understanding that these negative elements of life teach us something about ourselves. And we need to use whatever we learn about ourselves to grow inside and develop an inner life that is strong enough to keep our hearts open, to forgive them. They know not what they do. And it's true. People that create the kind of madness that goes on in the world are unconscious people. I mean, they lack the one ingredient that makes them truly human: an open heart, compassion, love, kindness. And I discovered years ago, I can't change the world. I can change myself. I can learn how to live with forgiveness, with compassion, with love. I can learn how to forgive all the crazy people in the world. And not that they're going to be any different, but I have to grow. I have to become more of a human being. And I think that becomes a very important way to live in the world, because the first thing we eliminate from our lives are expectations about the way the world is supposed to be. And we just kind of accept reality. This is what it is. Either we get swept away in it, we get destroyed by it, or we use it as a way to build ourselves and to learn how to get closer to a higher force of energy in the universe. I mean, I was in the same quandary when I was younger. I really was. I mean, I rebelled, I fought, I ran away from America. I couldn't stand it anymore. I really wrote a poem, Goodbye, America. I'm finished with your bullshit. You know, I just, but then one day I realized, I remember I was in Belgium and I was staying at some friend's house in Belgium, and I was on my way to Rome. And I remember I felt good. I felt this and that. But I said to myself, Stuart, you're living in Belgium and you're going to go to Rome. You understand? The customs are going to change. The language is going to change. Everything is going to change, but you. You have to find a way to change. And this was long before I met Rudy, who taught me how to do this. how to change, how not to allow myself to get swept away in the madness that goes on in the world, how to forgive other people because I need to move on. I cannot allow myself to be trapped in that kind of prison. Forgiveness is a way out of prison. It gives you the strength inside to move on in your life. Because frankly, it's not going to change. It's never changed in my life. I mean, I was born during World War II. You can imagine CNN reporting on World War II, what would go on in the world. I mean, it was a nightmare. What was they're dropping atomic bombs on other countries? I mean, it was insane, total insanity. And I grew up realizing ultimately I can't change it. I can change. I can grow. I can learn how to have compassion. I can learn how to build inside myself a system that someday can give off that love to other people that truly want to learn it. Not to the whole world. I mean, that's really God's job. It's not my job. But build myself so I can open my heart and I can give love. I can give forgiveness. I can teach people how to build that kind of system inside themselves, where they in turn can love other people and have compassion for the craziness that goes on in the world. I didn't see any other way out, honestly, when I was younger. I still don't see any other way out. I mean, with all the picketing and screaming and yelling we did, the world is crazier today than I ever saw it in my life. Maybe I was too young to experience what went on during World War II, but it's certainly crazier than anything I can remember what's going on in the world today. But here I am sitting and teaching something very profound to people that want to learn it. Detached from all of the sound. I even wrote a book called Madness Falling from the Sky. I did, you know, a book about the 1960s. And I realized finally, what can I do? No matter what opinion I would have, there's 10 people who are going to have different opinions. And I think that's one of life's, tragic comedies. Everybody knows better. Everybody sees the world through their own eyes, through their own reality. And no two people on this planet can fit into that reality. So you're going to have an insanity that goes on. And all I learned that I can do in the midst of all of that is I have to grow inside myself. I have to get stronger where I'm not eaten alive by the crazy people that are fighting wars in the Middle East and the Ukraine and people starving to death all over Africa. I have to get strong enough to be able to communicate with love. And if it touches the ears of people that want to learn about it, I'm totally open to teach it. I won't become, the Baptist of Kundalini Yoga and get on a soapbox and preach what I do to people, in other places. But if people find out and they want to learn about it, totally open to teach it. I also learned you can't teach people who don't want to learn to grow inside themselves. Can't do it. Something in them has to need to connect with a higher energy in the universe. Doesn't matter where people come from. I mean, I've had street people study with me. I've had people in prisons. I've had murderers study with me. Doesn't matter. And I always tell them the past is dead. It's what we do in this moment that really matters. And in order to live in this moment consciously, one has to build a system inside that is capable of doing it. Because it's not going to go away. The moment will not go away. The 8 billion realities that people see in that moment are not going to go away. the Putins and that guy in Israel. I never can remember his name. No, I forgot his name. Anyway, these kind of people, they don't go away. What does go away, is us becoming a slave to those people because we have built a system inside that enables us to do it. I don't know how else to answer that question. It's not an easy answer. You can't turn on a switch in a room and expect all of that insanity to go away. It's not going to go away. I mean, there was COVID in the world, and everybody had a different answer to the COVID problem. Some people, vaccination, people were fighting wars over vaccinations. Get vaccinated, don't eat this, eat that, vegetarians versus this. And now, there's 800 kinds of vegetarians that are at each other's throats, 800 kinds of meat eaters that are at each other's throats. I mean, it's ridiculous, the whole thing. Find out what works for you and do it, you know, and hell with everybody else's opinions. Get strong enough to connect with God and you'll see reality. All the illusion will separate. And your capacity will get really strong inside, and you'll be able to deal with all of the madness that goes on in this world. I don't know how else to explain it. It's not an easy explanation, and it's certainly not easy for people to do. But what do we all want, To be right? We want to be happy people, to live happy lives, to have joy in our heart, to love the people in our lives. I mean, I'm even, I have this T-shirt that I might be, so, I like the people I don't even like because they make me grow as human beings. And it's true. you know?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Come to class, Leisha. It's good for you. Please. Let's build that kind of system inside you that is able to do what I'm talking. And I am talking because I understand exactly where you're coming from. I was there. I was in that exact same place when I was younger. And I kept running away from it until one day I said, Stuart, can't run away from it anymore. I have to do what works to get me strong enough to be able to live in this world and to truly be a happy person and not allow the objective world to determine my happiness. Took a long time to learn that. I really mean that. And I still have to remind myself, because there's so much nonsense that goes on in life that you always get a little bit caught up in it. Does anyone else have a question? I hope it's clear what I'm talking about. I don't know how to make it clearer. I know it's not easy to do. I know everybody somehow wants all of that stuff to end. It hasn't ended since the beginning of time, and it's not going to end, but it can end if we build the kind of system that gets stronger than it. Keep our hearts open. Love. God is love. I mean, look, I'm not a religious person, but even Jesus, he said, love your enemy. It's like my T-shirt. I like the people. I like the people I don't even like. You know. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? And just to finish this, gone on too long anyway. It's very easy to get caught up in negativity. It's right on the surface of life. The easiest energy to get involved in, and it's right there. To find truth, to find a deeper element, to find joy and love, you need to go very deep inside yourself and build a system inside that enables you to do it. But the rewards, you know, greatest reward of all, to be a happy person living in a mad world. Does anyone have a question? Thank you. Thank you for asking that question, Lisa. I mean it. It's a great question, and it teaches me a lot. What comes out of me really teaches me a great deal about myself, about life, about living, about what's real, what's not real. Okay, if there are no more questions, there will be meditation on Tuesday, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. Thank you. Bless you all.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.